experience for your test of endurance as well. You all get the honorable mention ribbons for certain, for first, your interest, and second, your perseverance. And so we have four very interesting and different individuals. And now this is where the rubber has to meet the road. We must deliberate and decide who is the best fit for East Long Meadow. They can clearly, each one brings a skill set to the table that is viable. But the question is, at the end of the day, and we're pretty much at this end of this day, who is the best fit for the town of East Long Meadow? So with that little preface, I would open and allow each of you up to 3 minutes to share your thoughts. And then if we've exhausted all of our comments or points, then I think it would be reasonable to entertain a motion. If we haven't, after that round of opportunity to speak, then we'll keep going with knowing that it's a fine line between belaboring a point and getting, valid input. So that said, I will entertain anyone who would like to start.
I would just like to ask one question through the chair first. Whatever is decided here tonight, somebody should be making a formal presentation to a candidate of choice, or being able to communicate with the people that aren't. So I guess what I'm looking for is no leaks when we decide anything from any of us here until Bernie runs with it. Is that correct?
Bernie, would if once we decide the candidate of choice, is it my responsibility to step out and make that call and ask for their commitment?
Oftentimes it is the
Okay.
council president.
And then
We make the call to the
Yes.
successful candidate.
Yes. And beyond that, if the individual agrees to accept the appointment contingent upon successful contract,
Correct.
whose responsibility is it to notify the other candidates?
Generally, I do that.
Okay, and I thank you for that.
Yes. Yes.
Though I've been in this position hundreds of times in my previous role, it's, it's not,
It's not.
it's difficult, but in a collegial sort of way,
Correct.
They're all professionals, and
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and depending upon what the time the
Right.
decision is made, we'll either make that tonight or tomorrow morning.
okay, thank you.
Great.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it's better that way rather than, how quick something can happen in
Well,
this
and the
room
other piece of
before
that
you know.
is too, until the phone call is made and the candidate accepts or not, social media being what it is, I would ask everyone's cooperation in the room to refrain from discussing that publicly. Whomever is the candidate, I will send an email tomorrow morning to the town, all of the employees, to notify them of the successful manager, as well as I will alert the news outlets that East Long Meadow has a new manager. So, who wants to begin?
How about if I kick it off, if you don't mind, through the chair? Four great candidates. First one was Tom Gurin. A lot of experience, multiple years. He's been with Bourne for 14 years. I give him a lot of credit. If he's living in Vermont and he's working in Bourne and he did it for 14 years, that to me shows a devotion to the town. Then I go through, obviously, Mary. We've seen what Mary can do here. Fantastic candidate. I looked at Mary, if I was to go straight on resumes, one of the things that I would look at would be her municipal experience. She has limited municipal experience. She worked for the town of Hamden, but I don't think that detracts after having seen what she can do and having her go through the interview. I think working for the parking authority has really helped her. I liked her answers to the questions. Jennifer, again, she works up in South Hadley. She's a resident of Western Mass. She lives here. She's always been a part of this area. So she knows the area, she knows the people, she knows our senators and stuff, which that can help, especially when you're looking for grants and stuff and you want someone that knows people. But Mary's got the same thing. Ron answered all the questions. As far as with the grants, it was very impressive, the number of grants and stuff that he's gone through, his knowledge of them. And like I said, I think we have 4 great candidates here, and it's a matter of, I don't think we can go wrong with any of them. It's a matter of choosing the right one.
Can I just say ditto?
Nice try.
Nice try, right. Thanks again to the committee for doing all the
Yes.
work to bring these 4 candidates to us. I agree with what Ralph said. You know, the candidates are here because they all have the qualifications to do the job, each of them. But while their skill sets might be somehow different, I still believe that they all could do the job. So that being said, I also want to look to who would be the best fit for East Long Meadow, as opposed to who will do, you know, go through the motions, meet the department heads, whatever. I was impressed with what everyone had to say. I feel strongly, and this is just my opinion, that our salary will not address 2 of our candidates. The 2 experienced candidates, they're making far above what the town of East Long Meadow is probably going to be able to offer. Not that that's a reason to not offer a position, but I have a feeling that that may be an issue with some of the candidates. I liked Jennifer's style. She was a chatty Cathy, but no offense.
What do you think?
But I really liked her style. I feel that she has great promise. I just think that we need someone who, we have huge issues here, and we need someone with a little bit more experience, if you will. Mary has an advantage because she's been here. Now, that could have backfired. She could have been a disappointment as an acting town manager. However, listening to her speak tonight, even her priorities, she had specific plans that she was going to institute. And, granted, she knows all the department heads already. Her interest in our town hall employees as people, wanting to, and I use the word nurture, and I use that, it's my style, but she clearly spoke to or speaks to wanting to make the individual or the employee succeed, a good fit. She's treating the whole person. She's interested in the whole person and not just their function in the job. And I guess where it all came to head for me was when she shared her experience with the 2 individuals in her office that couldn't speak or write English very well. She went the extra mile, and we've seen that. We see that in the town hall even now, where town hall employees are smiling, and that hasn't always been the case. And granted, she has a little bit of an edge because of that, but it's what she's bringing to this position, and I would hate to lose what we've accomplished in just 4 months, So that's where I'm heading.
Anyone else?
Okay. Got to agree with a lot of things that Marilyn raised and Ralph as well. And the question of who is the best fit is key. When I look at Jennifer, I was quite impressed with what she's done, but she did not come up through the finance side. I noticed that she's HR. If what we need is HR, which is definitely what we need, right away I want to focus on Jennifer. But she seems to be very focused on HR and didn't really have a lot of financial background. And the financial background is important to this town, very important. So that to me is a little bit of a drawback. It sort of goes back to Mary. Mary has all this management experience, great fiscal experience, very little actual municipal government experience. We heard all three candidates say that that's a unique talent, it's a unique skill. And it's something that she's been working on since she started in Hamden, but that's a piece that's not there. I also agree she did have an advantage from being here because she could respond to what she knows our issues are, and she's already delved into what the issues are. And it's right, it could have gone either way. Guarino, liked him very much. Last time he came in here, 3 years ago I watched it and I said, that would have been my candidate. And I'm concerned about having to have somebody who has to live in an apartment here in order to become part of the community, which he has indicated strongly he's willing to do. I found in reviewing online sources, including not Facebook, not Twitter, but published sources from Cape Cod News and Warren News and others, that there were problems, that his performance evaluations were not great towards the end. But it's really hard to balance that against 14 years. And there was tremendous turnover in the town council or the selectmen, continually turning over. And so it became a political issue. He did apply to Long Meadow in 2012, according to what I found here, but he could not come to contract terms. Allegedly, it was financial. And it could well have been, as I believe, is it you, Marilyn, pointed out that the two of the candidates have high salaries already?
Right.
But I also found evidence that Long Meadow was requiring additional training and a temporary contract and an option to hire a complicated contract that, to me, indicated somewhat of a lack of confidence. I don't know why that existed there, other than his most recent experiences in Bourne, because I thought he was this very, very fine candidate. He brought the fiscal responsibility to the town, changed it from a red to better fiscal, so he could ask us, what's wrong with you guys? You guys should be better. So I really liked and still like Tom Guarino, just concerned about the salary and the issues, which this structured format did not allow us to delve into those issues with one candidate versus another. So we can concentrate on the strengths. It's hard to concentrate. It's hard to focus in on the weaknesses. And as far as Angelo is concerned, he's done it all, but he did not appeal.
Thank you.
I'd like to buy a bottle.
Okay.
Well, I'm not in a coughing fit. I would just like to state that I agree that I was very impressed with the interviews of many of the candidates. And my biggest concern is we don't need politicians running the town. What we need is a manager, someone with strong management skills. So that would be a prerequisite of who I would consider to be a good candidate for the town manager. We've tried the political route in the past, it didn't work out. And I don't want to go down that path again. I, like Pat, have done a lot of research. As most of you know, I know a lot of people in the state and connected to a lot of different towns for a lot of different reasons. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from folks. And that information, as well as the information that Pat had mentioned that I did in research through newsprints that were available through Mass Live and the Cape News and other print, I was able to find information out about other candidates, and I also watched a few tapes. So, with that said, I'm still leaning towards a strong management type of a person, and I think Marilyn first said it, and then Pat, that I'm concerned that people interview well, in my experience, aren't always the best candidate. And you need to put all these components together. And in my opinion, I put them all together, and I've come to a conclusion that I have one person that I'm down to.
One that you're down to.
Yep. So I've eliminated the three through logic and reason, and research, and information, and interviews. And I take a lot of what the screening committee had done into consideration as well.
Thank you.
Is it my turn?
Yes, it can be.
All right. We'll leave the president and vice president last. I thought Jennifer did a fine job. The only thing is, if I were going to pick between town manager or town administrator, I would say she'd be a stronger administrator candidate at this stage in her career. I noticed some of the trepidation, which is quite natural in her reaction to having to fire people and so forth, whereas a lot of that decision is going to be a town manager's job. It makes them really tough choices. And I'm not saying she's not capable of doing it, but I'm saying my gut feeling is the position in Long Meadow is the town administrator. And I think she would be a good administrator because she'd be working with the Board of Selectmen, who is serving, in effect, in that executive capacity. So, and then Ron, the last person, incredible resume. I mean, great background, great strength, and so forth. But the bottom line is, even reading new stuff, he's applying for multiple jobs. And I can see us getting into a bidding war type situation, and also getting into a position where it's going to be difficult to, because he mentioned his family situation. I think he'll be living in the central part of the state, trying to come into work and so forth. Tom, I thought, did a great job interviewing. I remember him for the first time. I thought he did a terrific job. I think he did an outstanding job of understanding our town more than, and picking up points just from last night's meeting more than any non-intimate candidate in this situation. My concern with him as well, and that was pointed out by one of our counselors earlier, is the fact there is a family reason he mentioned to be up in Vermont. And that's 55 minutes away. And I know he could find temporary housing, but it's still his family to be up there. And if there's an emergency of some sort, and that's prone to happen, we're in snow world or whatever, 55 miles going down, 91 can be challenging, and plus it creates a distance and so forth, and I like now, Mary, I know I said when I wasn't gonna vote for an interim under any circumstances, and I'll eat humble pie. My job is to the elected people that voted for me. I'm still pissed off in how she got the position. And I say that in those uncertain terms. I'm still unhappy the fact that her resume came in that night, that I was told and our council was told in no uncertain terms that we could not interview either her or the other candidate, and those names were kept secret. So I'm not backing down on that. But if I had to vote today, I would vote for Mary McNally.
Mike?
Listening to what everybody stated here tonight, I would agree with 99% of the facts that are on the table. So I kind of took a little bit of a different approach to this after I did my due diligence. I decided to, because I had the opportunity, we all had the opportunity to view Mary through observation, and that is, she's been in the town hall for 4 months, and I can accurately state that in the 4 months that she's been there, I've gone in the town hall twice to see her. So I stood on the outside and wanted to form an opinion, as I said, through observation. And the observation that I seen was the dialogue that she had with residents over concerns such as trash and anything else that would come across her desk. Observations with working with our town employees, observations with working with our department heads. I've seen her function internally, and these were examples of her functioning internally and externally with other situations such as, I want to say, communicating with other communities, Long Meadow maybe with the health department issues, Hamden talking about regionalization, Springfield talking about regionalization, Wilbraham could come into play with the water and sewer, and we all know that Mary is well known in all these communities. So those are the observations I've made. I've also watched her work through grievances, and with limited authority be able to hire, with our blessings, at least 2 people that I think are doing a fine job in the town hall. So that's another attribute to her. Talking about the assistant to the town manager and our, I want to call it part-time HR person. I think they've accomplished a lot. But in closing, what I see as a manager and a business owner is efficiency. I think she's very efficient. If somebody's there 40 hours a week, it's not just, to me, it's what are they getting done? And again, it correlates back to efficient. I think she's very efficiency, and she has our town employees and residents' best wishes in her heart.
Okay, it's my turn. As the council president, my stipend is a bit higher because the expectation is that, and one of the candidates alluded to it, that they would expect to be working closely with whomever is the council president. And so to that end, since Mary came on board, I have been committed to helping facilitate the transition by way of certainly not telling her how to think or what to do, because first of all, as the legislative body, we don't have that authority. But helping her to understand the landscape, I guess, is the best way to say it. And I've spent, it's fair to say that weekly, I'm in the office, a lot of times to work with Jeannie on agenda setting or the myriad of documents that require a signature or fast fact checks on things. But it's certainly when I'm there, I'm not going to walk by the office Mary's office without saying hello. what I'm trying to get to is I've been able to have almost a bird's eye view of what's happened in this town hall since August 22nd. And I want to underscore the fact that from the get-go, Mary is very cognizant of the tenuous position she's in as an acting. She understands the line between decisions that she can make with no repercussions and decisions that need our input, or decisions that should be better left until a permanent individual is named. And I believe she alluded to that as well. But she has taken the bull by the horns. She has jumped into the deep end and recruited an individual whom she knew in a different capacity, in a different work experience, to harness this deep hole we're in with a lack of an HR department. We have a framework that is evolving as we speak. She has quickly seen that the arrangement of offices in Town Hall do not best suit customer service. And she has a plan that will be executed the first week in February to rearrange not every office. And she's communicated this on at least 3 occasions with the constituents, the office holders in Town Hall, that the motivation for this is customer service. So she's executing in that vein. That particular topic was a matter that was left on the table from a previous administration. So despite the fact that she's gambling here, that things don't necessarily have to go her way, she has embraced the responsibility. She's gotten things done. She alludes to the fact that she can make the difficult decisions when she has to, and she's prepared to do so. And without elaborating, I'm certain that she will stand by that statement. I also am impressed with the network of colleagues that she has in Western Massachusetts in the legal arena, in law enforcement, and in the political arena. And she has name recognition with some of these big players as it relates to sharing regional services, or acquiring grants, or getting the attention of the Attorney General's office, whatever. I've seen firsthand her skill set as an attorney, and I can't put a price on that. That just happens to be an added benefit that she can bring to the table. She alluded in one of her closing remarks about helping someone in a difficult situation. The word that jumped out to me when she was speaking about that is genuine. And she is absolutely that. She does not have an agenda. She enjoys what she does, and she comes to work every day and does exactly that. And I'll point out that if you start checking off all the projects I've said she's trying to harness, she's not working a 40-hour week. Up until 5 weeks ago, she was working a, what did we say, 20? 18-hour week. And then, because I could see that she was drowning and trying to put her hand on a lot of things, I recommended here that we go up to 30 hours because it was necessary. But she's still only working at 3/4 of her time on task, and I think she's made some big inroads. And as it relates to the climate among the employees, it's palpable. It's positively palpable. All the other 3 candidates, my remarks would be redundant. Every single one can do the job. I think the woman we have right now provides the best fit for this puzzle. Would anybody else still like to weigh in?
I would just like to make one comment through the chair, that I had a conversation with her in terms of the hours, and if she was selected tonight, her hours would remain the same through pretty much so the end of February. She feels that she can still do the job, and with those amount of hours, until
The other arrangement works out?
it's been
Okay.
satisfied.
Fair enough. No other comments? I will entertain a motion from the floor. Not from the floor.
Go ahead,
Nobody
Mary.
on the floor. Although it's looking pretty good.
Do you want me to write it?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. I move to appoint Mary McNally as permanent town manager pending successful contract negotiations.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is it fair to say there's no any more discussion? But there can be. Seeing or hearing no discussion, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in,
Roll call.
oh, this is a roll call. Thank you, Don. And that's because my glasses are here. And of course, this would be a roll call. So, motion's on the floor to appoint Mary McNally as the permanent town manager pending successful contract negotiations. Marilyn,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
chair votes yes. Mike,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
pending my phone call, it looks like we could have a permanent town manager. So I will skip out quickly and make sure I have,
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
well, we can't adjourn until I know if we have more.
Until you... We've taken our vote.
You can't leave yet.
Really? Nothing personal, but our vote's done, so... Mike, if you slide over, I'll second your motion. Should we have a recess, a temporary 5-minute recess then? 2-minute recess?
Is the camera
We're gonna
still
say
rolling?
yes.
Ralph, I thought you'd
We
want to go
can't
home.
recess, yeah. It's all right,
I thought
just
you'd want
behave
to
yourself.
Go home by now.
The acting chair. The acting chair can recess.
Celtics haven't started yet, they're 15 minutes.
Yeah, well,
How are
we're
your
still
eyes?
with Mike
Would we
and
like to put a
Cameron.
motion out there to recess for 3 to 5?
Oh, but you,
It may not even last that long.
right.
I think we'll be fine. Feeling better, that's just like my 4th or 5th one of these
Yeah,
things. I
I'm
think
not
I think what they
coughing,
do
I'm
dries you
You're
out.
not moving?
Yeah.
Because you're not.
Don, is there any way to cut this anyways when it goes on?
Yeah.
Maybe there's
Had my
difficulty with
eyes
the
dilated
camera
today,
at this
guys.
time.
Trying to address that.
But your eyes, you don't have the rapid movement that you had, so they must have feeling
I mean,
better.
3 or 4 of these things help a lot. And the thing is, it just, obviously it has some effect on you to do what it does.
Oh, where's Mike's still on, camera's still on.
Wish
This is how
everybody
you get caught.
happy
saying
holidays,
something you
everyone. Merry
shouldn't.
Christmas.
Yes.
Happy
Yes.
Hanukkah. That's true.
Oh, boy.
I wonder what's happening. Oh, they had the impeachment vote today, didn't
Yeah, I didn't see the,
Yeah.
you know,
See it.
see what the
Didn't
numbers
see
are.
much of anything.
they? She's been out working.
So, watch. Kathy will be out there for 10 minutes chit-chatting away.
No, she knows
Now
her
she's
way
on
for
way.
it.
Spasms, you're okay, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
I know. It's just, stay calm,
So this is-
be quiet.
Do we go to the next phase?
Don't talk,
after that?
and I'll be fine.
mean?
Sip on my
As
water.
far as contract negotiation,
Yeah, that's gonna be the next phase.
are we doing any separate help?
Yay.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, possibly. Contract hasn't been negotiated.
Congratulations.
Hey, let's just,
All right.
you wouldn't let us recess,
Now,
so.
now move to adjourn.
Second.
It took a long time.
Do you have anything else to say?
I don't have it, no, I think we're good. So motion's on the table to move to adjourn,
It's been seconded.
Second.
second, thirded, and
Fourth.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we are in adjournment until the new year on January 14th. Until then, thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you.